Other night, I just saw a TikTok about a girl who found out her boyfriend was cheating by going through his phone or something, where she said she didn't go through his phone, but she should have went through his phone, and it could have saved her 2 to 8 years, whatever their relationship was. I'm here to tell you the real tea, girl. Because so the other night, I just saw a TikTok about a girl who found out her boyfriend was cheating by going through his phone.
Okay.
Or something, where she said she didn't go through his phone, but she should have went through his phone, and it could have saved her 2 to 8 years, whatever their relationship was. I'm here to tell you the real tea, girl. Because I will tell you where to find that real physical evidence. Don't just go through his phone, girl. Don't just go through the phone. You need to go through his trash.
What?
That is number one. This might make me sound crazy, but I have found a lot of truth by going through people's trash.
Oh,
And
no.
I might sound crazy, but yeah, the phone is just gonna traumatize you. The phone is gonna traumatize you. It's gonna leave room for interpretation. It's gonna give them room to lie and manipulate and gaslight. It's so easy. But the physical evidence don't lie. You go through the trash. You go through the bathroom trash. You go through the bathroom cabinets. You go through the bed cracks. You look under the bed. That is the real tea.
She is determined.
I'm just letting you know. The trash is going to be a quicker way to find out what he was eating last week, who he was eating with, what did he buy a meal for one or did he buy a meal for two?
Oh, that's a
He
good
went
point.
shopping, he threw the receipt away. What did he buy? Who was he? What you could tell a lot from trash. Don't get it twisted. You'll see if he was cleaning. What was he cleaning up? You really got to be a detective with this shit, okay?
I don't know if I would want to go through someone's trash, but I suppose if you're lacking clues and you just feel in your heart like your partner's doing something, I guess you could go for it. Every time she mentioned trash, I saw this sweater she's in, and I can't help but think it looks like she saved it from the trash.
Story time. So I used to take my lunch with me to work every single day, right?
Okay.
But of course, every single day I did not have a lunch. I must have had the best lunch on the face of the planet in the whole cosmos because it was always missing. It didn't matter where I put it. It didn't matter if I put it in the back of the refrigerator or down in the drawer. It didn't matter if I prayed an invisibility spell over it. It didn't matter. It was always gone. It was always missing. So I decided to myself, you know what, self? We are going to catch Steve and Teddy today.
That's
so
right.
Y'all remember that Move lipstick? You know, that lipstick that changes colors when it hits the warmth of your skin? Yeah, I took that and I put that on the zipper handle of my lunch bag. I took my lunch bag and I placed it into the refrigerator on display right in the front. And of course, when I went to go have my lunch, there was no lunch for me because Teddy didn't enjoy his lunch today. And later
Teddy.
on, I see a supervisor with red fingertips. Got you.
So I don't know about this, but ladies, maybe you can attest to this. She's saying that she saw a movie where apparently they showed this lipstick that when it touches your body heat, it changes color. She put that on her Ziploc baggie, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, she goes to eat her lunch, it's taken, and then she sees this guy's fingers, and he's got lipstick on his fingers. That sounds like a great way to catch somebody. The question is, what do you do now? Do you confront them? Or do you just stop bringing your lunch altogether? By the way, people steal lunch all the time, and sometimes it's people that you would never suspect.
How you catch somebody cheating? Act like you don't see it. Pretend you don't know nothing. They gonna give themselves away every time. They gonna get too comfortable doing it. They gonna go somewhere. Somebody gonna see them. They gonna know you. They gonna take a picture. They gonna show you. They exposed. Be still. Be humble. Keep praying. The devil gonna show up.
Right.
You ain't gotta look for everything. It'll come to you. Just keep minding your business. Keep on smiling. Keep being happy. Your happiness is gonna make them wonder what is going on. And now all of a sudden they worry. Like, I've been doing all this, staying out all night, doing what I want to do, and they still happy. Now they thinking you got somebody else. And now all of a sudden they want to be at home to see what you're doing.
I love what he's saying there. Don't be a dumb person. But if you feel like somebody's trying to get one over on you, play dumb, what they're going to do is they're going to end up telling on themselves in some way, shape, or form because they're going to get lazy when it comes to making sure you don't figure out the secret. I like his idea. Tell me what your guys' thoughts are.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to go skating. I'm going to share a story. I used to work for a financial management company. I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to get in a lawsuit. But there was an elderly man who called in. He didn't like technology. We'll call him Bob. He didn't like technology, so he didn't have his email on the account. He never set up his login to look at his account online, and he processed all of his transactions over the phone. He also didn't use bank information, so he received checks whenever he did transactions. So he called in because he had done a withdrawal for like $50,000 or something like that a few weeks ago, and he wanted the taxes withheld up front, which is what happened. And he received a check, and he's like, everything's fine. But then he's like, I received another check for $5,000 something, and he's like, I think this is the tax money. He's like, I didn't want to receive the tax money. I wanted it withheld up front. And I was like, okay, let me take a look at your account. So I looked at his account activity, and I was like, okay, it looks like the $5,000 was processed as a separate withdrawal. He said, I didn't do a separate withdrawal. I was like, okay, what about these other ones? Because there was several withdrawals on his account for like $1,000, $2,000, random amounts of dollars that you would probably consider market fluctuation, because he had several $100,000 in his account. So it was kind of like unnoticeable unless you're really paying attention. He said, yeah, I didn't process those withdrawals either. So I went to the fraud department, and turns out that it was an employee who had helped him process the original withdrawal. They changed his bank information to their own bank information, processed several withdrawals in several different days for small amounts that would look like market fluctuation. And after the transaction process, they deleted their bank account information, and they thought it was that easy to steal.
So she's going to tell us in a second here how they catch them, right? Think about how scary this is. It sounds like it's one of her coworkers that ended up taking a little bit of money each and every week or each and every month out of this guy's account. And because it was right there with market fluctuations, as she would say, the guy would be ignorant of it. He wouldn't know what's going on, but he was on top of his game and he caught it. This is what's so scary about our elderly people out there. Everybody wants to potentially victimize them. You know, you go to the bank, you go to your financial broker, you go even to the grocery store, and you hand the cashier your card, right? Like at fast food restaurants or the grocery store. You never know if they're writing down your number. It's really scary how easy it is to, have bad people try to take advantage of others.
They didn't know that we had this internal system that the company uses, and it's really confusing to use. A lot of employees don't understand how to use it. Obviously, this employee didn't understand how to use it, because it keeps track of everything. It's like a bunch of numbers and FN functions. It's really confusing, but it kept track of their bank information that they thought they deleted, that the money went to, and when they did it, how much they took and all that stuff. So they got fired, and legally they should be in jail or at least heavily fined if my company reported it to the police. If not, the least that happened is they got fired. But yeah, this Mr. Bob didn't know about it because he did everything over the phone. And even if he did get a notification in the mail that his bank information was changed, unless he was expecting something, he might have considered it spam, because we also sent a lot of required notices and promotional stuff. So yeah.
Yes, that's so true. How many times does your bank send you this letter that basically says, hey, you're qualified for their latest and greatest card? You get 10 or 15 of those a year, and pretty soon you just assume these things are spam. All of a sudden, you get a notification that says, hey, there's been some major changes to your account. I could totally see somebody forgetting to open that, and all of a sudden their life is screwed. I hope what she says is right. I hope that her company is forced to tell the authorities about that so that not only do these characters get fired, they should really have to go to jail for doing that. It's so dangerous, in my opinion.
I find way too much stuff I don't want to.
Oh gosh, here we go.
On an Android, they automatically come with, especially on a Galaxy, they automatically come backed up with Google Messenger, which is their actual messaging system they message out of. And it comes with a backup of a Samsung Messenger. Now, they don't typically realize that the Google Messenger is backing up to the Samsung. And even if they do, they don't realize it's a separate trash can to delete it. If it's not hooked up, go ahead and click that button of link, and it'll send everything from the normal text messages to the other one, and you'll be able to find it. Have an iPhone, just click on that search bar in the messages. Type in any kink they have, anything they would say to the opposite sex that would obviously be inappropriate, whatever their sayings are, and it'll pull up everybody they've said that to, even the deleted messages.
Oh, wow.
Now
I
on
see what you're saying.
Facebook, go to their settings. It'll automatically, you can go to activity log, and it'll tell you every girl that they've been on their page, every comment, every like, all of it. And I'm sure Instagram probably has something similar since they're both Meta. This is their big thing. It's always in their email. All their weird accounts, all their accounts they delete off their phone that they think they're slick, it is tied to their emails. A lot of times, even if they remember to delete in their email, they'll forget to delete their trash. Now, if they're good at it, I want you to go to the search. It'll tell you your most recent searches. Those apps they're deleting to re-download, I found WhatsApp, Plenty of Fish, Tinder, all the escort websites. I mean, the list went on and on. Type in anything that you think that might possibly be on there, and it'll pull it up. It'll tell you if it's recently searched. There's a lot of things it can tell you. Their history in their web browser. It will tell you everything they've been doing, every website they've been to. You might want to be prepared for this. This is a huge trigger warning because you are going to find things you never wanted to find.
I'm sure that goes both ways, ladies. Yes, you're probably going to find your guy is doing some horrible stuff, but don't let him find your phone because you know you're doing horrible stuff too. You know what this reminds me of? Whenever somebody unalives somebody, they always get their cell phone records, they always get their online records, right? And their history, and they always find out that 7 or 8 months ago they did a Google search on how I can get rid of the body. Right? They always do these goofy things. And then how many times have you heard that when you go someplace to commit a crime, your cell phone is going to ping every single tower on the way there? It's almost like we want to get caught when we do these bad things. It's really weird.
Caught her in the act.
I consider the world extremely weird.
Story time of when I caught someone stealing from me. So I was a server and a hostess at a Mexican restaurant. A new girl ends up getting hired at my work, and that's where things get interesting. Literally the day she started working there, someone's money went missing. Now, this could have been a mishap. Obviously, people misplace things, so we have our suspicions, but we're not gonna confront her yet. So I go into work for my shift. And I'm in college at the time, so obviously I bring my school bag everywhere because if I have a spare minute, I need to study. So I'm hosting that night, so I go in the back to say hi to my friends and everything, and I find a little something. When I walked in the back where my school bag was with my wallet and everything important to me, I find the new girl. When I first find her, I don't say anything because I'm obviously on guard. I'm trying to catch her in the act. I hear my school bag unzip because her back is towards me, so she doesn't know that I'm there. And then I say, "Oh, hi, what the heck are you doing?" She turns around, and I never heard someone say the dumbest thing in the world. She goes, "Oh, I was putting on my sweater." Do you?
Okay, so you catch the new girl in the act of going into your school bag to take whatever they were going to take, right? Your cell phone, your bag of chips, whatever, your whatever. Here's my question for you guys. How come new people don't realize that if you go into a business and all of a sudden people start getting stuff stolen, they're naturally going to assume it's you. You're the new guy that's entered into the fold. That's what gets me. A lot of times new people end up snooping and stealing, and everybody and their brother knows it's them.
Do you think I was born yesterday? So now that I've caught her in the act, and she tries to tell me that she was just putting on her sweater, which doesn't have a zipper, she's freaking out, like literally freaking out. So at this point, she knows I've caught her, and she's trying every excuse in the book, and I'm just like, "Girl, I literally saw your hands in my bag, so don't try to tell me you weren't trying to steal from me." So I walk past her and proceed to grab my school bag that has literally a laptop in it and all my money. So I proceed to check my wallet, and then she goes, "You can check my apron, you can check my apron, I didn't take anything."
She got lucky. But let me tell you where she might go wrong. If she doesn't tell people, watch out, I'm pretty darn sure I caught the new girl trying to steal from me, then what she's really doing is passing the buck. That new girl is going to end up stealing from someone else. Jesse, snitches get stitches. You know what? Everybody feels that way until it's them that's stolen from. Put yourself in other people's places. If somebody stole from you and you found out that one of your friends didn't tell you, they're not really your friend.
Okay, so mostly what you have to pay attention to is the way that they make you feel. And, you know, this for a lot of us, it takes fine tuning because if you grew up in an environment where you're used to being disrespected, disregarded, just treated in a way that is not like you're not being valued, then you might be bothered by things that people do, but you're very conditioned to kind of just brush it off or justify it or just ignore it because that's what you're conditioned to. So it can take time for you to become more sensitive to these things and to say to yourself, I don't deserve that, right? I deserve better treatment than that.
Yeah.
So it's things like one of the biggest ones that I've experienced and I've heard other people say as well is when someone says something to you like, you can come if you want. That to me is such a big like deal breaker, red flag of like, oh, this person doesn't really fuck with me, right?
I love that one. That is the perfect example. Guys, I've heard people tell me that so many times through the years, and it means exactly what she's saying. They might as well have said, don't go, because even if you start to say, yeah, I'm going, they'll find a way for you not to go. So just know that's a huge red flag.
Right. But they'll do things also like you make plans with someone and all of a sudden the day of they forgot. What are you talking about? We never talked about that. Or they forgot the details, or suddenly they want to change everything up, or you ask them to do something for you and they never really follow through, or there's always an excuse, or they completely forgot and they never bring it up. Or they'll do things like, oh, can you pick this up for me and I'll give you the money later. And then the time comes and they're like, no, that's not what we agreed on. You said you were going to pay for it, or this, that, or, you know, like they start like a money thing is a big thing too. Like they act really weird and tacky about money. What's another one that I was thinking about? Oh, the way that they act when you're like, so for example, this is a huge one for me too, that I just no longer, it's a deal breaker for me. Especially if you're a good listener, like when they're talking about themselves, you're paying attention, you're listening, it's about them. You're not thinking about what you're going to respond. You're just listening to them. And then if ever the conversation isn't about them, they completely lose interest. Suddenly they're looking at their phone, or they're preoccupied with things happening around them. They're getting distracted by everything else. Or maybe for a second, they'll kind of acknowledge what you said and then they'll bring the conversation back to themselves as quickly as possible. Or they'll end the conversation when it isn't about them.
So she's obviously telling us how to catch a narcissist, right? There's a lot of people out there that it's all about them. And when it's all about you, they want nothing to do with it, right? They have left the building. This is the type of gal that if you ask her for advice, she's going to give you the real good advice you need to hear, not the stuff you want to hear necessarily.
If you ever bring up something to them that bothered you that they were doing, they're not going to care about your feelings. They're going to care about the fact that you're calling them out. They're going to deny it. They're going to get very defensive. They're going to care about everything but you. They're not going to be worried about the fact that you're hurt or that you're bothered, or they're not going to try to explain it. They're only going to care about how they feel. And another big one is when they make a lot of little nasty jokes at you and they're supposedly playing around, but it doesn't feel that way. Trust that. Trust that you're not being hypersensitive. Trust it.
Always trust your gut, because the reality is what she's saying is true. A lot of people that really don't like you, they make little comments and they think that you're not adding them up, but those little comments add up and pretty soon you're gonna snap. And you know what happens when you snap? The only thing that can happen when you snap, you're gonna hit the thumbs up button, you're gonna hit subscribe, you're gonna come back again tomorrow, and we're gonna snap together as we watch videos. I'll see you then. Have a good night.